Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief, and thank you for tuning in to this special edition of the Fishbowl Radio. And thank y'all all for tuning in here today. I'm currently going live off of a different way. I am using my phone instead of my computer. So if there's any problems, please let me know in the comments on this podcast here. This is going to be a very interesting topic here. I'm only going to talk about one thing today, and that is college football's attendance problem that it is having here. Recent years, there's been a lot of talk about different teams having a hard time filling up their stadiums. I'm sure you've seen pictures all across the country of these stadiums looking half empty. Even some coaches, such as Nick Saban, have came out and condemned the students for not showing up to the game. Student section looking kind of empty at some of these games. So we know what we see. We can look at something and see that there's a problem. But are there any statistics backing this up saying that, oh, look, we have kind of an issue here between all these things going on? So let's take a look and see what we have here. All right, I've compiled a list of 5 things that I think might be kind of an interesting take on the game and see how it is. But there's such teams as LSU that are not having a problem filling up their stadiums, or like Alabama, but they could become a problem in the future if this trend can continue. So let's get down and look at it, shall we? So if we look at all this here, the NCAA every year they come out with an attendance thing going on. So it's interesting here. They have some pictures here that I'm going to look at here and show you what I am talking about here. So let's see here. I had screenshotted this to kind of get an idea. So in 2018, the total for NCAA Division I FBS total, they had 36,707,511 people out of 877 games. The average attendance in 2018 was 41,856 people. Change in average is minus 347. That don't sound like a lot until you start looking at the different years of what has happened here. 347. So let's go back to 2017. In 2017, they had 868 games being played. Of course, them games went down from last year. I'm trying to see why that is. But they have more bowl games. And yeah, they had more bowl games. That's why. Interesting. Anyway, they had 36,632,625 attendance in 2017. If you look at the average, it's 42,203. Now, if you look back at 2018, the average is 41,856. So it's down by 300 from 2007 to 2008. But the change in average in 2017's report is 1,409. So that should be a cause for concern. That's in the average attendance. Change in the total is minus 1.4 million people. So there was less games being played. So let's see what 2016 had to say. Now, in 2016's report, they had 128 teams. So they had a team that gained eligibility in 2017 to be in FBS. They had 873 games, which is a record in college football. 38,073,667 people attended games in 2016. And the average of 2016 game was 43,612. The change in the total was 115,746. The change in the average attendance, which I think is the most telling stat, is minus 321. So that gives you kind of a snapshot of what's going on. So within the last 3 years, the change in average attendance is 2,000 people about not leaving this game. So 2,000 people, you have to think, well, but this is across the whole entire college football landscape. This isn't just a simple thing where you're just like, oh, look, this is maybe not even an issue anymore. This ain't that bad or whatever it is. This is not bad. So you got to look at, well, what's the problems here? I gave y'all the statistic information the last 3 years. I can go back even further if I needed to justify all the numbers and give y'all that information. But I don't think it's really that important. You got to look at short-term spreads and how people are doing. So let's see. What are my 5 reasons why I think this could be a problem? Okay, I've known society has changed within the last 10, 15 years, ever since the invention of the smartphone, that let's call our attention span. Our attention span we don't sit still as much anymore. We don't sit on our couches and watch TV. We're more of a more mobile society. We want information on the go. We want to look at the latest news on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or get on TikTok and watch the latest videos or whatever it is. So my number 5 reason that I think college football is having a attendance problem is the games are too long. Some people don't want to sit down and watch a game. Some people want to just kind of just know the information, just kind of get it out there. Maybe they shorten up the games instead of having because sometimes them football games can go 4 hours long, depending on how the game's going. If they're passing the ball a lot and it's a lot of incomplete passes, that's going to stop the clock and add more time to the game. Whereas running the football shortens the game up and it makes the clock run more unless you get a first down in college football, which it stops the clock. But y'all get the essence of what I'm saying here, because if the games are too long, people are going to they might be like, okay, I need to go use the bathroom or the concession stand prices, or go to concession stand and concession stand prices, which is something I'm going to get into with this, because the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, the university, they rolled out a plan to try to increase attendance by offering cheap concessions. Like you can get a popcorn for $1. You could buy $2 beer, 16 ounces, which is very interesting here. So it's a very interesting thing here. All right, I got my... All right, sorry about that. There. I'm also cooking something right now, so let me go take it out the oven. Anyway, this is what I think it is. The game's going too long, and a lot of people are just kind of wondering, why do I have to sit in the sun for 4 hours a day? A lot of people don't want to be sitting in the sun. They rather watch the game from the comforts of their home. And that is something that could be on the go. Like, a casual fan's not going to really go to the game anyway. I'm going to pick on the Raging Cajuns for a little bit here. Part of it, it's going to lead into my next reason, is I think part of it is the matchups as well. They are in the Sun Belt Conference. You won't get excited about playing a team like Texas State. They have no tradition whatsoever. Whereas, if LSU would come to Cajun Field, you would have immense excitement. I think a team of UL should be looking at regional competition. Something that kind of has, a couple years ago, McNeese came to town. There was a lot of excitement about that game on the McNeese side of it. The Cajun side wasn't as immense with it. But, McNeese went on Twitter and started, kind of poking fun at UL. And, it kind of, stirred up the nest a little bit. So, I'm all for that. That's what makes rivalries great. I think the Cajuns should play Louisiana Tech a lot more often than they do. Because within, the last time they played was 5 years ago. I think that should be a yearly rivalry. Because it'd be a really good thing to see. Even Tulane's not as big of a rival in terms of UL. But that would be a good game for them. I think teams should have... if you have a local rival, you should try to play them. Or if they hate your school a lot, you should play them. If you have a history with a school, you should play them if they're in, like, at least once a year. Like, I wouldn't, like, even if there's like a regional matchup and there's not a rivalry with it, it'd be good to increase attendance in these G5 schools, because that is really what, there's more G5 schools than there is Power 5 schools. And, well, because you have the American Athletic Conference, you got the MAC, you got the Sun Belt, you got Conference USA. So, I mean, it's kind of like down the middle here. There's some P5 schools that shouldn't be really P5 schools at all in football. Looking at you, Vanderbilt. Yeah, like, but the only reason they're in there is because Vanderbilt's got his reasons for it. Vanderbilt's got a pretty good baseball team usually. But like in terms of football, they really don't make much noise. They are the most academic successful school probably in the SEC, if you're looking at history of that conference. But that's just one instance we can talk about there. All right. Like I was talking about matchups here. Another reason. Number 3 is weather. Some of these games can be really bad for, like, you know, them having to cancel games due to hurricanes. Some people just don't want to sit in the hot baking sun for 3 hours. If you get a spot in a stadium that's outside and the sun's just baking you, man, you're going to be sunburnt if you don't wear no sunscreen or anything like that. Or it could be really ridiculously cold, like up north, like in Minnesota, like Lambeau Field, like in the playoffs, when it's like blowing, like snowing and everything else. A lot of people don't want to sit out in that kind of stuff. So, like, I think the loss of the casual fan is something that college football has to look at. But I don't think the weather really plays as much of a bigger role in it. I was talking to somebody and they mentioned the weather. Like, I don't want to sit out in the sun and just sweat my butt off for the next 2 or 3 hours. It's understandable. I completely understand it completely. It's nothing to even, like, shake anything with. So, I mean, it's interesting. So, why not do something like that? So, you don't have to go to the games if it's too hot for you, because you got this wonderful thing at your house called air conditioning. You can sit on the couch and turn on the TV. And that's going to be kind of a thing, I think, that's hurting a lot of these smaller conferences. And that does play a role in the attendance going down. I think more people will jump. I think the attendance will continue to go down until this issue is addressed. Number 2, costs. Okay, before, like, I've been talking a lot about the Raging Cajuns. I'm going to keep sticking with them because I think it's something that needs to be addressed. Because a lot of people were complaining on Facebook that, oh, we have an 11-3 football team. A lot of people should be at this game because they're a really good football team. Yes, they are a really great football team this past year. And it's really good to know, like, you know, that they have support out there and stuff. So, what is the issue? Why can't they get people to join these games? It's the cost. They've addressed some of these issues. They have been very proactive. But other schools haven't. So they've been trying to get more people to attend these games. But really not that much. I think the most attended game this past year was 22,000 people. They could bring people to the games. It's just, it costs a good bit of money to do it. And they're only going to show up for one game a year. But like you're going to say, well, why they go to LSU's games? Because LSU, a lot of them grew up watching LSU. And that's just the way the state is. Like, they will support LSU. That's the number 1 school in the state. I'm an alumni of UL. And I don't go to LSU football games. I really don't watch much LSU football games. I only do it for my podcast. And that's it. I kind of can see what LSU does and what they don't do. Try to give an analysis on what I see, what I don't see. I look at it from a different perspective. I don't hate LSU, nor do I like LSU. I just do it from a casual fan standpoint and what I see. Because it's a lot to look at all these football teams and try to get an idea. That's why we have certain people on this podcasts, like go watch LSU. Like Juicy, he is our LSU guy, so he kind of covers the LSU Tigers and kind of gives me ideas of what's going on with them. So he keeps track on them. I keep track on the Cajuns. That's that's why I'm referencing the Cajuns a lot, because I paid close attention to the Cajuns. So, but yeah, like it is cheaper to stay at your house than go to a tailgate. Like you can cook a whole meal for like 7 or 8 people. You can cook there for a tailgate, but then once you get to the game, you gotta buy like, I know LSU ticket prices are high. Let's go for like one of the cheaper games. Let's say if you wanted to go like watch LSU versus Georgia Southern last year, I'll use that as an example. It was like, what, $25, $30 a ticket to go sit way at the top. But if you want to sit in the bottom, that's where the prices start going up. And, you might be paying $50, $70 for a ticket. Just one ticket. If you want to bring a whole crew of people, like 4 people with you, 10 people, that adds up, man. That adds up to be like $700 if you're, like, that whole crew is just pitching together. It gets expensive for families these days. So it's something we got to look at. But the number one reason I think that there's a problem with the attendance, like what's causing it to be like that, is this little thing that you have on your phone that you can stream on your phone called ESPN Plus and ESPN3 on your wireless network or whatever you have. ESPN Plus is cheap. Like you're paying $5 a month to stream these games, okay? $5 a month over the course of football season. If you stayed home and watch all these games, let's see, Cajuns have 6 home games. 6 times 5 is $30. Well, that's not even remotely accurate, but look, you get what I'm saying though. You're paying $30 for all 6 home games. But of course, it's spread over the month. It's even cheaper than that. Like, look, if the Cajuns are even anywhere near there, it'll be interesting, So, like 6 times 5 is 30. So, if they have a balanced schedule, 6 and 6. It's more comfy in your house than going outside, like I said, with the weather and everything else. It's nice to be bundled up, If it's cold outside, you can grab some blankets and turn on your heater, and you'd be perfectly fine. Whereas, like, you have your air conditioner, you're not suffering at all, really. You're just the only way you're suffering is if your team's getting their butt handed to them. That's the only suffering you're going through. So, the availability out there, I think that's something that's going to continue. I think the stadiums are going to be becoming more and more empty. This might even impact P5 schools if it continues this way. I'm talking like LSU, Alabama. There's already been kind of like signs of it kind of already being like that. Whereas there's always going to be someone in a stadium. It's just the diehards are going to be there. The diehards of schools will be there, because I'll tell you what, there's nothing like going in a stadium and feeling the energy from the crowd and like watching it live. Because there's always going to be some sort of a delay with streaming. It's like, it could be a 2-second delay or some kind of latency. Because it's a web-based, it's going to have some kind of latency. But that's a whole other technical issue that I'm not going to even get into. So, availability of games is something that I think is really the biggest culprit. I think these TV contracts are the biggest thing going against these schools here. So whenever the TV contracts are up, they're going to have to figure out a way how to get their brand out there. Because I think restricting, if I was a school, I would not do this sort of thing. Depending how much more money I would bring. You can put your money where your mouth is in certain cases. If you want to watch the Raging Cajuns, I would black out these games in the Lafayette area and get them to the stadium. Like the whole Acadiana area. Everybody would have to go to Cajun Field to watch the Cajuns. Whereas if you're like traveling abroad like Houston, that's where you should, but like in this area, these games ain't blacklisted at all. Not blacked out at all. Like, I think even with ESPN out there, ESPN isn't going live every single game at UL, like the ESPN 1 and ESPN 2. But like, I wouldn't even worry about that too much. I would try to get the ESPN U's out the picture. ESPN Plus, ESPN 3. I don't think it really adds that much to your brand in terms of watching in Acadiana. I've heard some people say that, oh, the Raging Cajun thing is kind of like creating no, I don't think that's even the case. So that's all I got to say about it there. Thank y'all for tuning to the Fishbowl Radio. I hope we've learned a lot here today. Thank y'all for tuning in. I hope you have a great and wonderful weekend. I will see y'all soon. Thank you, Fishbowl Nation, for everything y'all do. Like us on Facebook and Twitter. Share this on YouTube or any of this. Just put it out on the internet somewhere. I don't care where you put it. Just put it somewhere, and hopefully it'll take off. So, thank y'all. Have a great, wonderful weekend. I will see y'all. Probably do an episode sometime this upcoming week. So, thank y'all for tuning in, and have a great day.